Hey, Andres, how's it going, man?
Hey, Mike, how's it going? Yeah, doing great. I'm happy to be here, definitely.
Yeah, me too. You're wearing the Superman shirt. Is that what that
Yeah,
is right there?
ready for the challenge, isn't it?
Let's go with it, bro. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's super it up, right?
yeah,
So
right.
that's awesome. I love it. So, what are you going to talk about with us today? What's your topic?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because we're actually in the previous talk we were talking about security, and we're also going into the same trend. So we're gonna walk everyone through the why we need to become a security architect, or
Yeah,
even perhaps just getting a start with security, become perhaps a security analyst, and yeah, we're gonna see why and also how, definitely.
that is super cool. And you know what? I just want to add this, and I'm going to let you have it. We tend to
Yep.
forget that, don't we? We'll build these really, really awesome applications, have great enterprise architects, but we always forget the security. I'm just going to leave it on that note because I know
Yeah,
this.
I don't know why. Consider it a hindrance. Come on.
Duh.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to help us out today. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring in your slides and I'm going to let you have it. Have a really good one.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Well, and I would like actually to kick this session off by saying thanks to all the organizers, because I know that many of the organizers from this event are also coming from Ukraine. So understanding the current situation that we have in the country already, I mean, it's just unbelievable that we are still having this event today upon everything that is happening in the world. So hello everyone, my name is Andres Cespedes. I worked at MuleSoft/Salesforce for both companies. I work as a principal instructor, and today we're going to learn why you need to become a security architect. And something that is really shocking me at this point. Well, the clicker is not clicking. Okay, now it's working. Is that perhaps at this point, 30% of this room has already tried to scan the QR code that we presented in the intro slide. But yeah, I don't blame you for doing that, because that is in fact one of the most common human traits. And yeah, that is a human trait. Yeah, you know, it's called curiosity. Well, the geeks here, that's the curiosity rover. And don't ask me why, but that was the best representation that we could have for the curiosity, don't we? But curiosity is something that sometimes makes us do probably unsafe things or even really stupid things. Let's take a look to this short clip.
Hold on. You have a choice. You can have the boat or the mystery box.
What are you, crazy? We'll take the boat.
No, not so fast, Lois. A boat's a boat, but the mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat. You know how much we've wanted one of those.
Then let's just...
We'll take the box.
We'll take the box. You gave up a boat for free tickets to a crappy comedy club.
Come on, Lois. You're acting like this is the first time I've ever done something stupid. You remember the time I was supposed to get that boat? A boat's a boat, but the mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat. You know how much we've wanted one of those.
Then let's just...
We'll take the box.
Here we see how our Peter Griffin friend and how his curiosity got on his way and disrupted his plan, also with his wife. What if anyone have taken the boat right off the bat? Probably me. Definitely, I wouldn't be that curious. But that curiosity is what always makes us question and intrigue us to know what is behind maybe that door or maybe that box in this case. Because exploration is a really fundamental part of life. It drives us to find perhaps healthier environments, better resources, better conferences, and exploration is what took you to this place, to this conference. We as humans, we always seek for information to reduce that uncertainty that we live in the world, and also to resolve our gaps in our knowledge. So for probably those that were more curious about, for those that were curious about the QR code that we show on the first slide, well, you can find it here, no props. So here's the complete version. And for probably those that were really lazy and didn't want to scan the QR code, you could probably guess what is the QR code that we are scanning here. That is the most popular QR code in the human history. Yes, you know what it is. Yeah, it's that song. Yeah, it's that song. So even though that we just met probably by this point 5 minutes ago, you are trusting me already. And please keep doing that and keep trusting me at least for the rest of the talk. Because after curiosity, we humans have another big human common trait, and that is trust. So what is the problem with trust? Well, we need trust in our daily lives, and you can probably notice when you go to your work and you expect that after a month later, after you have worked so hard, get up early in the morning, you expect your employer to probably just pay you back all that time and effort. Or perhaps when you go to a mechanic, you expect that person to repair your car and not just to rip us off, for example. Or when you buy some food, you expect that the food to be treated and processed in a healthy way. Right, food industry? Looking at you. So we can really live in this world if we are constantly doubting everything. And that's why we need trust. But what I'm not saying here is that we should always trust and in a naive way, or that we just forget our rationality. But the problem is that humans, we trust when we shouldn't. So those human traits are the backbone of what puts us at risk. There are different kinds of risks out there in the industry or on the internet. And those risks and threats are exploiting those human traits and human vulnerabilities. And that means that curiosity that we have, perhaps the ignorance or unawareness, can really be the cornerstone of the malware industry. Those are the opium for the hackers. That lack of probably cybersecurity awareness is what is creating this risky environment for all of us. And you know who is really curious and really aware? Well, hackers. Yeah, they are really, really curious. And these guys are going to do bad things to you, professionally and financially speaking. So, by the way, hackers don't wear these kind of masks. That's just ridiculous. Who on earth is going to put a custom just to break into a system? Well, probably you can put a bunny hop and just try to hack. So there is a famous saying that goes, my crime is that of curiosity. So the hackers are these persons that really exploit or have been honing their curiosity to exploit someone else's curiosity. And they exploit these human traits. They are curious and they want to know, and they sometimes know how the system works and understand the rules of the system. So these people are just going to hack for different variety of reasons. Well, in these days, some hackers do it for profit. You can probably notice in the media with the crypto hacking about the cryptocurrencies. Some others just do it for fun because that gives them some pride and joy of being able to get into a system. And some others, they just do it for political reasons or hacktivism. Well, with the current situation, that may be the case. So by understanding that we are in danger, we probably can foresee the impact that all this has in the world. And in the past year, in 2021, some serious companies that they are diligent to provide this data. So please be educated and consume this data. They estimated $6 trillion for the cost of the cybercrime worldwide. $6 trillion. If we just put that in perspective, that would be the third largest economy in the world. It's just insane the amount of money that we are losing due to cybercrime. Can you imagine how much or how many things we could do if we could start saving at least a half of that money or some percentage? Probably you could finally buy those NFTs that you were trying to do this year. And this is not getting better because every day we are getting more people into the internet and also new developers and new people and new devices joining the network. So we expect, for example, and this diligent company, Cybersecurity Ventures, they also estimate that probably by the end of this year or next year, we expect around 6 billion people connected to the internet. So that's roughly 80% of the planet. So imagine the massive attack of surface that there's going to be there. And I know what some of you are going to say. Well, that's probably not going to touch me, and I'm probably too small, or I'm not going to be impacted by this. And well, for good news, for those out there with probably low self-esteem, you are the perfect match for a hacker and cyber criminals. And well, this talk is not meant to turn into a self-motivation talk, but you and your project matter. That's the reality. So every company in this planet and every individual matters. Cyber criminals and cyber attacks, they are just targeting even simple individuals just to get personal information. It doesn't even matter if you only have 2 followers on Twitter or Instagram. Your data is still valuable. And hackers, they're also going to target, of course, the big, large institutions. They can get a big profit out of that. But even the small businesses, because those businesses, they haven't adequately prepared and invest in cybersecurity. And the hackers, of course, they all know how to exploit that unawareness and then just get some profit out of it. So if we have some assets these days, that is data or data. So let's do an exercise here. Can anyone tell us in the chat, perhaps? Can you guess who's the culprit that this term, the fame of JNDA last December? We're going to be keeping an eye on the chat. And well, so if you would expect that last December, most of you were on holidays, just taking a break, enjoying Christmas, but no, in the middle of a pandemic in December, there were some few cyber attackers or some hackers that they have found and exploit this library that I'm about to show you using this concept of JNDA. For those here that probably are not in the Java ecosystem, this was a massive vulnerability found in the Java ecosystem, by the way. And check, this term, high rank at the 100 points score for Google worldwide, not even for a country. And that was our lovely friend, the Log4j library. So remember, if anything or something can be exploited, it will be exploited. These cyber problems are getting serious because if you think about it, you know that things are getting serious when there is a magazine just dedicated to report data breaches and problems. So this cybersecurity is becoming a big issue and it's only getting bigger. Every day we see new malware, new techniques, new way to get into systems, and new data breaches are coming up or being published. And this pandemic also accelerated this problem. You might be wondering why. Chances are that many of you are working now remotely, and that remote working is bringing plenty of benefits for you. I know that many of us love not commuting to work or probably not interacting with some colleagues. But however, this situation is increasing the cybersecurity risks because now every person is connected through any device, any possible device. The security measures were not set in place. There were no policies, and people just join from their houses however they can. So consequences and the attack surface are just only going to increase due to this situation. In fact, one of these massive companies that also analyze all the problems that are happening in the world, please be diligent and consume this data. They are expecting to have, or that we are expecting to have, 3 times more devices connected to the internet than humans on Earth. That's just a mind-blowing number. 3 times more. So we are probably over 20 billion devices right now. So at this point, I would like us all to think about cybersecurity in this different way. I would like us to think that cybersecurity is like this large pipe. So we have this pipeline, and you can see each section of the pipeline is connected with these joints. Now, those joints are there in place to maintain whatever is contained and within the pipe to keep flowing in a safe, secure, and predictable manner. But now imagine that one of those joints were not properly adjusted, and then a leak of the oil, for example, starts dripping. Following this example, now we can think about cybersecurity on who's really responsible for this cybersecurity in your project or your company. Well, every one of us is just responsible. It's not the responsibility of the CISO or the CTO or the CEO. It's just everyone is part of this problem or the solution, perhaps. So that means that all these best practices that we are going to learn after this talk are going to be should be part of our routine and our daily lives. So why is this important? Just to summarize, we can see cybercrimes are just rising and becoming more prone to happen. Your data is still valuable. Don't consider or don't sell yourself too short. Your data is still valuable. Cybercrimes are going to have a massive impact from the financial perspective that we are probably already foreseeing. And also they can pose some real life threats. For example, imagine what could happen if an aircraft for wars can be hacked, or a drone, and they just start using these weapons. So how are we going to really, so now that we have clarity on why we need to become a cyber or get into the cybersecurity field, let me just give you a bonus, because who doesn't like bonuses, don't we? So let's get started our journey on this cybersecurity. And we're gonna start just by looking at what a security architect do or does. We have all these different tasks, but today I'm gonna wear a hat of nerd to English translator. So instead of looking at these different tasks, let me translate them into that a security architect does is to help hunting the bad guys, or these persons, this role will design a protection plan for the most valuable assets for you or your company. They will also get interested into enablement and training. And parenthesis here, that's what I do at the company. Also, this person makes sure that companies don't get into these legal problems with data governance. And last but not least, these individuals, they get badass skills just to help others. And that's part of the human nature. We like to be proficient and recognized for that. So how are we going to start this journey? Probably that's the question that we are all going to answer here. There is a wealth of knowledge to get started on cybersecurity and becoming a security architect. And these frameworks, for example, starting from the OWASP, Application Security Verification Standard, they're just going to give you the basis for achieving some security posture and preventing these data breaches or just security threats, mitigating them. In some cases, they will also give you some certifications and clear path to enable the rest of the organization. But just to be clear, these frameworks are not a one-size-fits-all solution. Even at your company or perhaps at your individual context, still have to analyze if you need to mitigate some threats or some risks and identify which vulnerabilities and which risk tolerance can you afford. For example, the NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, a US-based company, they have a well-established framework for you to start getting into on how to identify risks and problems, then decide what do you want to protect, your data, your applications, and then how you can detect that your security perimeter has been crossed or breached. And then how do you respond and recover from that situation? There are some other standards like the ISO 27000. I'm not going to, let's say, give you all the details. So I know that Google is your friend. Just Google that for you, and you're going to find a wealth of knowledge there. Now, here we have a controversial topic, and that is certifications. There are some detractors and some people in favor. So like you have advocates and also detractors. But let's just take a look at certifications from the learning perspective. There is no bad knowledge. Well, could be, but knowledge is going to give you skills that are going to impact positively your career. So these certifications are going to be the baseline skills, or so you can perform these, at least the core security functions or activities. And there is also a huge list, which I cannot fit in the 30 minutes talk or in a single slide. But one of the most common ones is the CompTIA Security Plus. This is a really cool one because you can get started from a very generic perspective, not getting too much into the jargon or the tough details on how to secure a network or how to secure using cryptography and so on. So with the CompTIA, you can start looking at threats or vulnerabilities and how they can be mitigated. Also, security best practices from the architectural and design, operations, and how can you respond to an incident. And also governance and risk. You also need to choose what motivates you the most. If we move to another big provider, that is the CS or the ISC Square, the international, listen carefully, the International Information System Security Certification Consortium. Oh my goodness, I need to take some breath. This company is one of the most well-known ones, and you can get your career kickstart with an entry-level certification. So probably by the end of this month, you can be certified as an SSCP, just a security certified practitioner. And that will give you just the basics about architecting for governance, risk mitigation as well, infrastructure security, and application security, and so on. Now, I know that many of you that are participating here are also interested in cloud technologies. And for those, each of the big providers, the big players like Google, Amazon with AWS, Microsoft Azure, or Oracle with the OCI, they also provide their own certifications. I tried a couple of them. I got certified. So definitely, it's not enough with that certification because that's tailored for their providers, but at least that's the way for you to start. Now, I'm going to leave you with a challenge for this talk. And it was funny because I found that our previous talk also talked about this tool. So we have this tool or this website that have I been pwned? And that means if your data has been leaked or breached. And this is one of the easiest ways on how hackers, they can get passwords and get information about their victims by just going to this website, and they can Google it with their email or phone number. By the way, I'm not giving you ideas here, by the way. So go and check and start mitigating the problems or the breaches that you have been part of. Ultimately, we cannot expect cybersecurity to be an easy fix or becoming a security architect just to be an easy path. Combining this software-based security with the people's education and just vigilance across businesses and individuals is just a cocktail of the essential tasks to minimize human risks. So to conclude, we all own security. Even though that there are security specialists out there, we must own security of our lives. You don't have to become an expert by no means. just take a simple step. Read a book, follow some best practices, attend a conference. While human curiosity is still difficult to curb online, ignorance and trust can be easily treated with awareness and training. So with this, I would like to thank you all for participating here with us today. And for those that probably have questions or maybe comments, you can connect with me on LinkedIn or GitHub. And now you can trust me, that's the QR code that it will take you to my LinkedIn profile. And I will just go to this screen and see if we have some questions in the chat with Mike. And yeah, thank you everyone. And also thanks Geekle for having us here.
Andres, that was so super awesome. You know what? We got like 4 minutes, I think, before the next speaker. So I'm going to throw some, I'm just curious, all right? What led you down this path to choose to be a security architect as you are right now? What made you decide that?
Yeah, it's a good question, Mike. And it's actually connected to my, let's say, part of my childhood. When I was a child, I always had this mentality of, yeah, I want to, I don't know, it's kind of part of the human beings to be a protector, to be this guardian of your tribe, of your family, right? So yeah, it's like getting with the shared theme. And then I understand that probably I need to become a protector, or at least giving the tools to the community to protect themselves. And naively, back at that point, I was thinking of becoming a antivirus developer, but it just turned out to be that fun. But now getting into this field, it just gives you so much fun and also feel of action and interaction with the community. So just coming from the childhood, I always dreamed about becoming a security architect. And yeah, now here we are in this path, Mike.
That's so awesome, Andres. I got one more, and I think we'll end this, but we're coming back, right? I mean, we're going to go back to the Q&A. We got a few more minutes. I got one more speaker, and then we're going to get into a lot more here. But I've got another one. How do you recommend for companies to keep current with all these security hacks, right? Because I know one, for example, who really hit a database. I'm not going to say who it was, but it hit them pretty hard, and then they had to go and mad rush to get a fix in and then implement that to all their customers. So how do we keep up with that? Because patching is another one, security patching and all that for servers. Give us your rundown. What's the best approach we should take?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, the answer is going to be like super long, just to give some insights, because what is happening here, as companies and as all of us, we are using software in our lives. We will need to patch or upgrade that software every time. So what companies can start, at least, is by reducing their attack surface. And that is by using or being conscious about the software that they are using. If they start bringing a bunch of different tools, libraries in their projects, it's going to make them more vulnerable. So just starting, let's reduce the attack surface by just having the right amount of software, libraries, and components. And then alongside that, we need to always set a plan. So that's why the security architect will come into play and say, yeah, let's define a plan, how we can keep track of everything that we are using right now, and just automate this kind of risk mitigation and incident response process.
That's super awesome. I think we're going to end up here. We're ready for the next speaker, but just hang on, because I've got a lot more questions for you. We got a lot that are coming out. I mean, this is a really excellent topic. So I'll see you in a bit, Andres. Thank you so much. That was a really awesome talk. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you in half an hour.